As allergy season picks up across the Panhandle, it's not just your sinuses that could be suffering. Dermatologists say this time of year can also trigger serious skin issues. One of Panama City Beach's skin experts weighs in. Dermatology physician assistant Ashley Tanner says this region is a hot spot for allergies, and they often show up on your skin.
This is a hot spot area in the Panhandle for allergies, and oftentimes allergies and atopic dermatitis run hand in hand.
She says as the seasons shift, so does what's in the air, triggering reactions in people of all ages.
When the seasons change and the wind patterns change, we notice that different things are brought into the environment, and that really affects people.
One of the most common conditions she sees this time of year, atopic dermatitis, a chronic skin condition that causes discoloration, rashes, and
itching, and nothing that you're doing is helping the itch.
She says certain areas of the body are more commonly affected.
Right here in the elbows, behind the knees, and the hands.
Tanner says there are now more options than ever to manage it.
And there are other treatment options besides just topical steroids, antihistamines that in the past were used more widespread. There's much more safe options that we have now.
For some, allergy triggers are hard to avoid. In those cases, she says seeing a specialist can make all the difference.
Medical Monday is sponsored by Cardiovascular Institute of Northwest Florida, providing nationally certified cardiovascular services right here at home.
Tanner says if your symptoms aren't improving with over-the-counter treatments or the itching is starting to interfere, it's important to see a dermatologist to explore your options. Now, speaking of allergies, Trey, you actually warned us about allergies picking up last week.